On January 31st of 2024, Lana del Rey announced a new album. It will be coming out later that year in September and will follow the 2023 release of Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? Yes, I know that's a very long title, but this one will be called Lasso. However, that was 2 years ago, and there has been two name changes. The Right Person Will Stay and the current one, Stuff. But no album is here. I still remember watching her live for the first time in 2024, and it was like 2 months before the supposed album will be coming out, and I was so excited. I was thinking, oh my god, I'm watching her now and I'm gonna hear her new songs very soon. Yeah, I was very well played, but I accepted it. I moved on with my life. However, some fans did not. They took it too hard, they took it very seriously. In fact, so seriously that they got blocked by Lana because of it on X a month ago. Crazy, I know. But I dare to say that this is not at all surprising. Lana has never been the person to trust when it comes to release dates or projects. In fact, this has happened many times. Blue Bannisters was late by 4 months and changed covers twice. Chemtrails Over the Country Club was announced in 2019 with the name White Hot Forever, but only came out truly in 2021. She just goes with the flow. Someone on Reddit said that she's like one of those cities where the weather forecast is never accurate, like it might rain, it might not, you kinda just have to wait it out. And I honestly couldn't come up with a better description. But for some, at some point, waiting it out can become annoying. And I'm here to raise a question. Does she actually owe you an album at all?
And what can you tell us about Lasso coming out later this year? You've gone country, right?
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, what can I say now? What can I say now? I mean, when I gave Jack Antonoff his award for Best Producer of the Year, and I said, I said, welcome Nashville to Hollywood, and Hollywood welcome Nashville because the music business is gone country. And it went silent. 5,000 people, dead silence. And then the next week, we had 3 major artists announce big country albums. So where is Lasso going? I really have no idea now. You know what I mean?
This interview was in May of 2024, and after this, people started complaining online, and it hasn't really stopped since then. The last rumored date of release was last month, which we both know hasn't been completed. And that brings me to the blocking on X drama. I'm going to explain to you what happened, so let's look in. One fan page posted, I think I'm officially disillusioned with Stuff. I can't say I wouldn't be happy to get the album, obviously I will be, and I'd listen to it if it ever comes out. But I'm not waiting for it anymore. This is like the first time I've felt this way about Lana, I'm so sad. To which she replied, don't wait then, and proceeded to block these fan accounts. I don't want to be the devil's advocate here or be a bad person if you don't stand with Lana on this matter, but I mean, kind of based. I mean, I feel like she was like, you don't want to wait for the album? Then don't. What's the thing about waiting for albums to come out? Is that you don't have to. What else would you expect from her? Something about Lana Del Rey is that she would exactly reply like this to such a comment. However, I do understand the fan account at the same time. It is normal to feel disillusioned, and I think that's the part that I want to explore. Why do people do feel like this, and why do they actually get sad by just giving time to an artist to create their art? Some other people added to the conversation. They also got blocked. It was posted then on Reddit. People on Reddit were commenting, and the conversation turned very negative. People were saying, she's so reactive, she really needs to stop spending so much time online. People were using adjectives like miserable, unhappy, lost, fragile to describe her. I just felt like at this point the conversation got so centered around a person's life that you don't know. I love Lana Del Rey as an artist. I love her music, but I don't know her. I know nothing about her.
You know nothing, just know.
I do understand the first comment by the fan account that they feel disillusioned. I also feel somewhat disillusioned because yes, I did expect the first date and then it never came out and it's been 2 years. Am I a little bit sad? Maybe, but that doesn't really matter. I'm fine. It doesn't affect my life. In fact, I do want to wait for Lana to come up with her best work that she can show us. I want her to feel fulfilled with what she shares with us. You know, I don't want her to do something just rushed just because she put a date that she thought she could comply with, but then she couldn't, you know, or she didn't feel like she wanted to. I feel like that's all valid reasons, and I see both arguments, but I want to explore more the fans' side. Why would you feel so mad and sad over this? And of course, my answer is gonna be you have too much of a parasocial relationship with this person. You don't know Lana Del Rey. You don't know if she is miserable, unhappy. This has spiraled much more ever since she married her husband, just because of his job. People say that she's unhappy because she married someone who lives a much more humble life. I mean, I also say this, but I don't know the man. I have no idea what kind of life they have. Fans just feel these things, they make these narratives in their head, and then they see their actions already on this line of vision because of their own expectations in their mind. They already envision that she feels these things or that she's spending too much time online. You don't even know. She could have just opened X, and because the post is about her, like it literally has her name, I think, or is about her, I think it's normal that it appears on her feed. I know it doesn't mean that she's spending all of her time online, whatever, but I think that fans feel entitled to art on their timeline because streaming culture has restructured completely the relationship between artist and audience. It has turned it basically into a subscription service because you don't wait for subscriptions to deliver. You just expect to open the app or whatever you're paying for and you feel owed to what that subscription gives you. But mind you, a person is not a subscription. This fan anger has been manufactured by the system we live in. Platforms like Spotify reward constant outputs, social media rewards constant posting or presence online. The entire infrastructure that we live in and that we use every day has turned music fans to people that expect a feed. You're scrolling and you expect to interact with music in a way that feels like it's just pure entertainment. It's behind something, it's just making things more fun, but you'll lose the part of music that is meant to be felt as an experience, as an art. And an art that takes time to build. Lana is not built for this type of model of entertainment, of streaming, of subscription, and never has been because she's a person very much of her own. Her music is mainstream, I will admit that because it's just a fact. It is mainstream, but it is not because it sounds like every other mainstream song. She has her own voice and she has taken literal years, a decade, to build this following and to be in a place that she is, and it took time. It wasn't just like an artist that popped out of nowhere and now everyone knows them and it's everywhere. She had to build this for years so people could enter the environment, the ambience she creates with her songs, the whole world building. Because I, as a fan, okay, I am biased, but I do think there is a whole world building around her albums, and I think they are beautiful in my opinion. But if you don't like Lana, you will not have the same opinion, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day she is still an artist, and this is just how art is created. But so when she doesn't comply with this, and people are used to this type of interaction, it feels more like it is a personal fight. They are going against what you want instead of just being a mere creative choice. An angle that I would like to add to this conversation is gender. I know, it's annoying, not everything is about gender, but I do feel like there's a little bit of that here. Because firstly, her persona is like this melancholic, passive, dreamy figure, and I think that already gives you this idea that she's permanently available because she feels available through her music. She really opens up to you. You really feel connected emotionally to that, so you also have the door open to have emotional responses to this type of delays, expectations not being met. But male artists, even with the same persona, don't get treated this way as much. I even think that male artists with chaotic release schedules get mythologized. They really are perceived, oh, he is taking his time, is cooking, and I never really see many people using this narrative for female artists. They always get pointed the finger immediately. We can already see this by the Reddit comments that I shared. You don't really see no one talking about male artists as miserable, fragile, lost. Of course, there is criticism against male artists, but the difference in the criticism itself, the way that this is portrayed, expressed, is different. And I have some examples. For example, Frank Ocean is one of the strongest examples because there was 4 years between those releases and he went completely silent. When he was finally going to release his second album after those 4 years, fans camped outside Apple Store waiting. This delay became like a mythology and nobody ever called him fragile. They just called him like he was a true artist. He didn't care about public opinion. He did his own thing. Another example is Kanye, which is someone who has gotten a lot of criticism and with reason because that is a very problematic figure, let me tell you. But Donda and Vultures have both been delayed, and the albums had multiple fake releases, public listening events that weren't actual releases, were just whatever. There was constant chaos around this, and what people usually talked about was how he was a tortured genius who, oh no, like he has so many problems, he can't keep up with it, so it's fine, instead of the way that Lana is being treated, you know. And the funniest thing is that this is done by their own fans, so there's this internalized misogyny, I will say, that makes the fans act this way against their own, you know, artists that they supposedly like so much. I don't think this is fair, and I think this is just a very important conversation that we can take out of this situation. It once more shows us how prevalent misogyny is, how people don't respect artists and their art, how people have these very strong parasocial relationships that are not healthy. But my argument is never that fans are bad people. I never really think that. I just think that everyone makes mistakes or has certain views because they just haven't healed certain parts of themselves and they are just mirroring those things in the way that they interact with our world. And it is just something that we should talk about so people become more aware of the way they talk about people and the way they portray people around them. So fans are not bad people. It's more that the relationship between them has been structurally distorted to the point where basic boundaries are read as betrayal. I think these people should ask themselves, what do I actually want from this artist? Do I want the art or do I want the artist to be permanently available to me as an emotional resource? And in that case, I will just tell you to use her already available music as your emotional resource if you must. The truth is, the album will come out or it won't. The blocking, in my opinion, was just someone setting their limit and boundary and not a brand failing their customer, because those are just different things and we've lost the ability to tell them apart because everything nowadays has a purpose to make money and we just treat everything as a company. But artists and brands are different things, even though they are so intertwined today with marketing. That is also a very interesting conversation that we could have, but this was it for today. I just wanted to make maybe some people think about how they truly feel about the artists or the things they see on social media. and understand what we actually want from artists. Do artists owe us albums, new releases? Let me know in the comments what you think, your thoughts, your perspectives on this. I really like them, and if you enjoyed this video, more videos like this will come out in the future, so subscribe. I will really appreciate that. And a new video will come out next Friday, like always, so I'll see you then. Bye!